So what's up, guys? As you can see, I got a haircut. I went bald this time. And usually when I get a haircut, I don't get something as drastic. You know, I usually get something more relaxed, like a fade, like a mid fade, maybe even go for a mullet, as you guys can tell in the last video. But I think this time I wanted to really put a stamp in my vow of celibacy, and I really wanted to have something like a physical representation of what I'm doing here. And what I'm doing here is achieving sexual purity. And so my hair, the length of my hair specifically, will represent how long I've been celibate. And so I need to up the stakes. You know, I need things to be more permanent. You know, have a real reason to do this journey. You know, sort of reminds me of that biblical story of Samson and Delilah, and how Samson's hair is what gave him strength. And to me, that story represented celibacy, things of that nature. So today I'm out here on the waterfront. I'm just enjoying the view. It's a little windy. It's kind of gray outside. So there's a splash of little rain droplets, but hey, we're still enjoying the view. We are still enjoying the nice fresh air. And I'm excited for this journey. I really am. We're gonna title this video "A New Beginning," because I want to have something that I can physically track my journey on, instead of having to count. I don't like to count. I like to make the days count. You know, as Muhammad Ali once said. And I quit vaping too, surprisingly. So I quit vaping, I quit drinking. I'm like completely sober off of everything. So we're going to see how this transformation occurs and takes place, and what it can do for my life. Because, you know, I've ruined a lot of good things. You know, I had 2 relationships this year, and 2 real relationships, and I really truly loved them. I love those 2 women to death, and I still do. But I messed that up. I messed that up with dealing with lust and licentiousness, and being too addicted to sex, and being too addicted to my vape, and being too addicted to alcohol, and too addicted to substances. And I had to give all that up just to realize that life is so much more. Life is so much more than stimulating yourself, you know? Life is about discovering new things and learning and growing and just being present and being alive. You know, there's so much going on in the world. You don't have to distract yourself all the time with music and alcohol and substances and podcasts. I mean, you can just be here, be present, and be with your thoughts, cultivate good thinking habits. I mean, you know, life is amazing. Life is amazing. And, you know, there's no reason to just be all about one thing, you know? So, this journey is going to represent me unbecoming a lot of the things that I became and becoming new things that I am ready to become. And I can't wait. I can't wait. You guys are going to be here along for the journey, and I can't wait for you guys to see too. Because the future's looking bright. The future is looking very bright, and I am so excited. Like, I don't know what the future holds, and I don't know what it is, but I do know that it is bright. You know, since I was a kid, I just knew that, like, my life is going to mean something. It's not going to just be an average life, and I knew that from the jump, and I still know that to this day. So here I am recording a video. It took me so long to finally gather the courage to just start recording. I remember I used to overthink my way out of recording. I wouldn't record because I just never thought that I would have any ideas of what to record, until I realized, man, you just gotta hit the record button. You just gotta start. That's the number one step, is just starting, and you'll figure it out from there. You know, you don't have to have everything figured out from the jump. You just gotta know where to start. And that's with most things with life, you know. You don't have to be an expert when you start it. You just have to start. And along the way, you'll figure it out. And you'll eventually become good at it. I mean, as long as you stay consistent, as long as you stay persistent and committed, and as long as you don't give up. Because at the end of the day, you know, the plant that you water, the seed that you water will grow. If you stop watering it, you will kill it. It is the lack of attention. So you have to be very, very wise as to what you want to water. You know, what sort of things in your life are you giving attention to each and every day? Is it social media? Is it quite literal plants? Is it your friends? Is it education? Whatever the case may be, I think it's very important to choose wisely as to what you give life to every single day. And for me, I mean, I'm gonna focus on going to the gym, reaching my fitness goals. I'm gonna focus on becoming more healthy, and just focus on a diet, because I mean, I want to feel better. I have great genetics, but I've been relying on them far too much. You know, I've been drinking a lot and vaping a lot, and like, oh my gosh, I've been vaping since I was probably about 14 years old. I've been drinking since I was about 14 years old. I'm 22 now. That's like 8 years. So that's the better part of a decade. It's almost half my life. That's all right. You know, you learn young, and the younger you catch it, and the more sooner that you're able to stabilize your own life, the better off you're going to be. You know, it's always great to strive for perfection, you know, like Jesus did, but it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. I tried. I certainly did try, but hey, that's all right. You know, we make mistakes. It's part of being human. And you know, once you know better, you do better. And that's all that matters. You know, mainly getting out of the grip of addiction. That was a big issue for me. You know, I got to the point where I was fed up. Like, it took a while. I ruined a lot of relationships and a lot of friendships and connections, and and I do have grief for those today. And now that I'm sober, I'm finally able to like fully process what actually occurred. Because for the most part, I mean, when you're sedated like that, when you've been sedated for years on end, I mean, like, you're not all the way there. And I'm not talking about in the head. I mean, like, you're not all the way there in the moment. Things that happen are sort of more like a distant memory, more like a memory of, oh, that's what I did, and not, oh, that's what I decided to do. It's more like you go on to this NPC, or like you go onto this sort of automated style of living. And I mean, I had enough. I decided that I wanted to take control of my life back. And so the only way that I could do that is to release any sort of addiction that I had. And for me, that addiction was vaping, sedation. It's all sedation, it's like, it's all dopamine hits. It's all how much pleasure can I get. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a slow form of suicide, less direct and more indirect, but still, nonetheless, it is leading into that direction. There's just too much stimulus in today's world. Like, sometimes you just gotta go for a walk. Sometimes you just gotta spend some time alone. Sometimes you just have to look out into the distance and remember what it was like to be a kid. Remember what it was like to look up in the sky and wonder at the clouds and have this feeling of great connection to the cosmos and to the universe. That's what I'm doing. Look, got the birds out here. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, got the birds. And now I'm sort of in the town. And I mean, guys, comment down below if you're gonna start a retention journey. I promise you, this might be one of the best things that could happen to you, because it's almost like you get this rush of possibility. Like, anything could happen. I've had so many magical moments on this retention journey, like, it's crazy. Like, let me tell you. So the other day, I'd say like the other week, this was probably a week and a half ago, I was in this other town. I was out of town, but not like super far out of town. I was in the next town over from where I live. And my friend was in that town. My friend lives in that town. And so I decided I'm gonna go see what he's up to. And so I call him and I'm like, yo, bro, what are you doing right now? He's like, oh, nothing, I'm just about to shower or whatever. And I'm like, all right, bet, I'm pulling up. So I pull up on him, and he gets ready to, he gets all ready. He's done showering and stuff like that. And we go to this place called the Bite of Seattle. That's what it's called. And so it's, if any of my Seattle goers are watching, comment down below if you've been to Bite of Seattle. But we went to the Bite of Seattle 2024, and basically it's this huge event where there's just a lot of food trucks and food venues that are showcasing their food all in one spot in Seattle. And it's magnificent. It's humongous. It's massive. And we actually set out on a mission to get a certain amount of things. So we wanted to get dessert, we wanted to get a main meal, and then we wanted to get some snacks. Those three things. But we had such an array and such a variety of choice that it was actually really hard to choose. It was really hard to choose. And so we eventually choose. We ended up going to first place we went to is this oyster spot. Like, they have these oysters, these massive oysters, very expensive because it's Seattle, you know. I don't think you're gonna get anything in Seattle that's ever really affordable like that. But yeah, these amazing oysters, and they're so good. They're so good to this day. A week and a half later, I burp and taste those oysters, like, to this day. They were really good. They were so bussin', and I wish I had a picture to show you guys, but I don't have a picture. I didn't take much pictures. I mean, I guess I took a picture of the last thing that I got, but I'm gonna get to that. So then, of course, we eat the oysters. I think he bought, like, what was it, 6 oysters for like $30. Like, it was crazy. And I mean, they were pretty decent sized oysters, but I mean, between the two of us, I don't know if it was enough to fill us up or not, but hey, we still ate them, and they were super good. But then after that, we went to go get boba, because, you know, we can't walk around the Bight of Seattle and not have a bev. You know, we love boba. I love boba. Boba's my favorite. Yeah, boba is my favorite. You know, I took 3 years of Japanese in high school, and I've had multiple Asian girlfriends, and I just love the Asian culture. And one of my most favorite things that I love out of the Asian culture is boba. Boba is so bussin'. That is so good, so good. So we get some boba. You know, we ask for light ice. Of course, the motherfucker fills half of it with ice, like crazy amount of ice. I'm like, bro, come on, chill. He was like, what? There's light ice. I'm like, all right, whatever. Because I love boba anyway, so it's not like I'm gonna just deny the boba. I'm not gonna ask him to remake it either, because I'm not that kind of like. I'm not that kind of like. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, I'm not that picky, I guess. Like, I did want light ice, but I'm not gonna like tell him to remake the whole thing because he didn't put because he put too much ice in it. You know what I mean? It's like, whatever. He made the ice, whatever. And so we're drinking the boba, and we're walking around. We're just checking out the merchandise, because my friend, he's like looking for merchandise, because he recently has been going through this thing where, like, he, for whatever reason, he wanted some merchandise, and he was getting pressured, low key. He was getting pressured because there was a lot of venues, and like, there was quite a few people that were pressuring him into getting some things, and I could tell on his face that he didn't really want to get anything. But, you know, so I decided, like, all right, we will come back to you guys if we decide to. You know, I just sort of to control the situation and let the vendors know, like, hey, we'll be back if we need to be. And so then we ended up leaving the vendors, and it eventually got pretty late. It got like 8 o'clock, and mind you, the Bight of Seattle closes at 9 o'clock, and so it was 8 o'clock at this time, and so we decided, all right, we need to get our main course, and we need to get a dessert. That is what we need to get, because we're at the Bight of Seattle. There's tons of people, by the way. There is a lot of people. It's like you're not necessarily rubbing elbows, but you're damn near. Like, you know, you're moving through crowds, and luckily there was a flow of things and whatnot, and you could imagine what it was like, right? And so we had decided to get this, what is it called? It's like this turkey leg stuffed macaroni and cheese our macaroni and cheese stuffed turkey leg. And it was massive. Oh my gosh, it was massive. It looked so good too. We had passed by it like once before, and we didn't decide on it the first time because I wanted to check out other places to see if there was any other valuable places that we could possibly get our final entree from. And we eventually decided on this one place. And so we decided, in order to save time, because the lines were so long, that I was gonna stand in line for this entree, and then we're gonna have him stand in line for the dessert. And so I decided to stand in line, and as I'm in line, like, I couldn't really tell where the line ended because I had to get to the end of the line. And so I get to the end of the line, and I'm looking at this person in front of me, and I'm like, are you in line? They're like, yeah, okay. And I was like, okay, cool. So I get behind him, and then like these other people, I could not tell if they were in line with the person in front of me because they were standing. Because when they came into the line, they stood really close to the person who was in front of me. So I was like in between them, damn near. Like, I'm behind the person in front of me, and then they're also behind the person in front of me because they walk up and they're behind the person in front of me, but like on the other side of the person. And so I turned to them and I asked them, I was like, hey, are you guys in line? And they were like, yeah, we're in line. I was like, oh shit, okay, whatever. Yeah, I didn't say it. I was just sort of like, oh, okay. And then we're waiting in line, bro. Probably like 45 minutes go by. And they're like, hey, well, like, get behind us. And I was like, whoa, I was here first. They were like, no, you weren't. And there was 3 of them. And so I was like, all right, whatever. You know, they were chicks. They're like, no, you weren't. And I was like, yeah, I was. And so I was just like, whatever. I'm not going to argue with them. You know what I mean? I just decided not to argue with them. Because, number one, they're women. And not that I don't argue with women. I just don't, like, I'm not going to argue with a woman because, for what? Like, there's no reason to. You know what I mean? There's absolutely no reason to. There's no reason to argue with anybody. But with a man, I mean, if they decide to get violent, I'm getting violent. I'm not getting violent with a woman. So it's not like, why would I even, like, entertain that? So exactly, I'm not just arguing with women. And then as soon as I just shut up and sort of accepted that, all right, they're gonna be women and they're gonna cut me in line, like 2 of the women out of the 3, 2 of the women were like, oh, we kind of feel bad. And then they were like, sorry, our friend didn't see you ahead of us. And the friend who, quote unquote, didn't see me ahead of her was the one who had started the argument about who was in front and who wasn't. And I was like, oh, it's okay. And they let me cut in front of them. And so it's probably like fucking 8:45 at this point. And I finally get to the front of the line where you order. And I order a mac and cheese stuffed turkey leg. And I'm looking at the lady who just somehow has my energy, like she has my attention. And I'm looking at her, and I order it to the guy, but I'm looking at the lady. And he tells me, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any more mac and cheese stuffed turkey leg. And I'm like, okay. I just say okay. And then they bring out a mac and cheese stuffed turkey leg, and they're like,